This is Stephen Farrell of the New York Times in Baghdad with my colleague Anthony Shadid. Anthony, behind us is the Green Zone, for 7 years the seat of American, if you like, power, but for decades before that it was Saddam's heartland, a Sunni regime. He's gone now. Where are the Sunnis left in Iraq?
It's an important question, Stephen. I think, looking at that Sunni narrative since 2003 goes a long way in explaining all that's happened in Iraq, basically post-war, post-invasion. There was Sunni resistance to the new order, which led to the insurgency. There was Sunni incorporation into the political process, and we saw that manifested, I think, most clearly in the elections March 7th, these elections that were seen as a milestone by many. The question of what's next for the Sunnis, I think, is very compelling, and I think a lot of people feel that we're at a crossroads, at an intersection on which way the Sunnis go. There's a sense among Sunni politicians that if Sunnis don't reach some of their ambitions, some of their goals in these current negotiations, these deadlock negotiations, namely having their candidate become the prime minister, we could go back to a more precarious, unpredictable time.
Is there any chance that their candidate, Iyad Allawi, albeit himself a secular Shia, could win, could be appointed prime minister?
Well, there's no question that Sunni politicians, that the Sunni leadership has invested their hopes in Iyad Allawi as the next prime minister. I think when you talk to diplomats, you talk to officials, you talk to politicians themselves, the chances of Iyad Allawi becoming prime minister are extremely remote, perhaps impossible. I think there's a notion among the Shia leadership in the country, the same leadership that we've had since 2003 basically, that Iyad Allawi becoming prime minister would represent what they call a Sunni restoration. In other words, the Sunni community in Iraq, a minority, will get to choose the person for the most powerful post in the country, the prime ministership. That position is seen to be a Shiite position. It's also seen to be a position that the Shiite majority will choose.
Sunnis you talk to say, we played the game according to the rules you laid down. We participated in an election. Our chosen coalition got the largest number of seats, and still the incumbents are trying to marginalise us, trying to squeeze us out. And there is an undercurrent of warning there about, well, if we can't get it this way, who knows what the future will hold. Where do you see things going from here?
It's a great question. I think what we're going to see next, if this does come to pass, what we'll probably see in the most general terms is a government lacking legitimacy in the eyes of a large share of its population. Does that mean war? Does that mean instability? Does that mean some kind of more amorphous unrest? It's really difficult to say at this point. I think what you can clearly acknowledge is that the Sunnis lost the insurgency. In some ways they lost the civil war. Do they really have the capacity or even the willingness to resort back to arms, to create more unrest like we saw in earlier years? That's difficult to imagine, although of course not impossible. But what we have to understand is that politics in Iraq in 2010 are still motivated by fear. It's the fear among the Shiite community of a Sunni restoration in some respects, and I don't want to say the Shiite community in general, but the Shiite leadership, and especially the religious leadership. There's definitely a fear out among Sunnis that they're going to be permanently marginalized in this political process that's going forward. You can understand where both are coming from, however remote those fears actually might be.